All right, over to you, Derek.
Okay. Well, good morning, everyone, and happy New Year to all of you, and welcome to what we call longevity for CRE professionals. What we thought here was that, look, it's the beginning of the year. Let's talk about some of our goals for health. This is not a business meeting. This is one about community, friendship, and staying healthy. It's something that we've done in the past. We've got a special
Derek, I just lost
You
you.
just need to unmute there, Derek.
Wow, I said some really
There you
good
go.
things too. Oh, you guys, the best you've been. Okay, happy New Year, everybody. Welcome to today's session. This is only my 400th webinar, George, and I was on mute. So we're running today's session on your longevity, your health. We're not talking about business, but we got a business powerhouse guy on it, big time apartment developer, Adrian Roca from Fitzrovia. But we're not talking about cap rates. Okay, today we're talking about our longevity and our health. And the beginning of the year is a great time to talk about it. Okay, so this is the old way that we thought about our health. Okay, we think about, exercise, we think about nutrition, and we think about our sleep. All important things. Okay, Rod, let's go to the next slide. Okay, but what if we took and technology has changed so much. At the end, we're going to talk about how we can use technology to improve our longevity and our health. And I think we've all started learning about the importance of sleep. Adrian, thumbs up. Good morning. Was sleep part of your process?
Absolutely, sleep was part of it.
Right. But I never ever thought about sleep, I would say, up until a few years ago. I mean, I read a book by a guy named Matthew Walker on sleep. Why We Sleep, I think it was called. And it made me rethink the importance of sleeping. So saying, look, it's about exercise, nutrition, technology. Let's put sleep as the foundation. Then let's circle it all with testing and technology. And Rod, one more circle. And then let's put a circle on community and our mindset, right? So, I mean, there's a phrase, something I think that makes sense. You are the weight of your five friends. You're the average weight of your five friends, right? And that's very true. If you start hanging around people that are fit and think about their longevity, then it's going to rub off on you. And quite frankly, maybe sometimes it's time to make some new friends if you want to make that journey, and and so on. So we're going to talk today about Rod, creating good habits, because a lot of, Adrian, I want you, when we talk about this, think about the habits that you've created, right? The things that are going to happen automatically. So we talked about here creating good habits, right? So what I've learned more than anything else in my fitness journey, a lot of you know my story, is that if I put habits in place that are easy to follow, so make it obvious. My trainer showed up at 5:30 this morning to my house. I have to get up or they start ringing the doorbell. Make it attractive. I put in a gym in my house. It looks nice. It's a nice place for me to go to. Okay. Make it easy. Someone showing up at 5:30 makes it easy. I can't not go. And make it satisfying. The feeling of after you work out or after you've gone in the sauna or after you've gone for the swim, you all know that feeling, the endorphins kicking and things like that, right? Okay. But then there's other things too, in terms of, how you break bad habits. And Adrian, at some point we'll get to discussing alcohol, okay, when we talk about it later on. But I'm thinking that I should probably drink less. Well, what would be a way for me to drink less? Well, the first thing would be to probably not have the bar in my house sitting right in my face every day, so I look at it. It's in a prominent place in my house, and so on. So make it more invisible, make it more difficult. Maybe I put it all in the box and put it in the garage. So if I want to have a drink, it's going to be a lot harder for me to have and things like that, right? So just think about habits and the exercise we're going to do together. Sarah's going to pop it into the room here. Okay, and you can just grab a piece of paper, or we put it in the chat room. You can download it. You can download it. But this comes from the book. After I read Atomic Habits, I thought, okay, how can I create some habits that are going to help me in my age reversal in my longevity, in my weight, and things like that. Okay. So why habits are the compound interest for self-improvement. So each habit piles on top of each other. And I was trying to make these things automatic. Okay. So these are my atomic habits for 2025. Okay, Rod, let's put the first one up there. Okay. So the first habit I've come to is if I have to do something for my health, most times I'm never going to get it done because I'm so busy running my business, running my life, taking care of my children, my grandchildren, and so on. So the first thought I'm going to have about my health is actually not about health. It's who, not how. So as soon as I get an idea, I'm thinking, who can I delegate it to? Fair enough. The benefit is it gets done immediately. Okay. And then the people around me know how I think, not the details. So for example, I have a smoothie every morning in my gym while I work out. Fair enough. And I take about 10 supplements. All those supplements are ordered by my EA in coordination with my trainer, and my trainer puts them in a little pill box. Fair enough. And then halfway through exercising, I usually take a break. I make the smoothie, and I've got a Vitamix in the gym. You see why I'm going into the detail here? But what I want you to understand is I've delegated it to somebody else. The supplements are ordered. The trainer knows I'm supposed to take them. I take a break halfway through. My wife buys the spinach. It's in the fridge downstairs with the egg whites, with the whey protein. I make it and I drink it. Okay. But what I'm saying is I've delegated it out. Make sense? Now, you can over delegate, things don't get done and so on. But the key point that I want to bring across for me is I have not made my health my priority. But if I pay people who work for me and people who love me to do it, then it seems to get done. Make sense, everybody? You can put a comment in the chat room here whether the idea of thinking who, not how for your health makes sense. Rather than you doing everything, what can you delegate out? Look, you can't delegate out the exercising, can you? Well, maybe parts of it you can. My trainers stretch me. They physically stretch me. I just have to lie down, they stretch me. So I'm trying to take this to an extreme, okay? Next one is consistent sleep time. I'd say I was challenged with my sleep. Probably a lot of you are challenged with your sleep, right? And the first thing is most of you real estate people, so your data people, I wear a Whoop. It monitors my sleep. It's almost the first thing I check every morning. Fair enough? What was my sleep like? And when I monitor it, I go to bed earlier, as opposed to saying it's time to go to bed. I just say, hey, it's 9 o'clock. I got to go to bed, right? And I think sleep is one of the lowest hanging fruits for longevity. I mean, it's generally pleasurable. It's not like I have to eat. It's I have to exercise. Those are all work. Sleep is just go to sleep. And quite frankly, for me, it was going to sleep earlier. Okay. So my wife is part of that. My trainers are part of that also, because I know they're going to show up at my house at 5:30 in the morning. You get the idea? So my habit or my mindset is focusing on sleep, measure it. Other people make sure I get the sleep. Okay. All right, good. More protein is another habit that I wanted to create for this year, right? And why do you want more protein? Well, if you want to build muscle, which is super important, then you need to do that. Okay, eat more. So I'm thinking about my food and so on, et cetera, et cetera. I just gave up on it. Okay, I'm gonna order meals from outside that are high protein. Sarah, I don't know if you know the name of the company. Lisa does, but there's a company called Protein Plus or something. They do high protein, high vegetable meals, relatively low carb. The meals are delivered to your house at a relatively modest price, much easier than, much cheaper than a restaurant, probably a little bit more than what it would cost you if you actually did it yourself. So habit, benefit, what's my next step? Why am I doing it? And most importantly, who can I give it to? Next, cardio. Besides weightlifting, cardio is really important. So, and again, I'm telling you this as an example. You're going to have a different habit or mindset that you want to create. If you watch Peter Attia, he teaches you about level 2 and level 5 cardio. One is fat burning, one is like, true cardio and things like that. And so I have a rowing machine, but I didn't particularly like rowing. I wasn't doing it and things like that. So I thought, how could I delegate the rowing out to make sure I got it done. Well, the trainer's job is after I'm finished training, they watch me go on the treadmill for 2 to 5 minutes, analyze my stroke a little bit, look at my heart rate, which is being measured by my Whoop. But the point I'm making here is that the trainers are making me do it. I've delegated the responsibility out to them. They're not doing their job unless I'm on the rowing machine until they leave. Everybody get the idea? Okay. We are trying to say that we are busy people. We may not be particularly disciplined, but if you set it up for me, then I will do it. Or that's my personality anyways. Okay. And the last one, eating out was a real challenge for me. In the business I'm in, I would say that I'm eating 30% of my meals outside the house, right? That probably includes weekend with my wife and I also, but I generally don't make good choices in restaurants. At home, I will not eat steak frites. I won't make fries. I might barbecue a steak, but in a restaurant, I will. And so on my business meetings, I actually have my EA, and that's my long-suffering EA of 14 years, Lisa. She'll actually go and look at the menu and put in my, hey, Derek, order the salmon and the salad. Fair enough? So when I go to the restaurant, I don't have to go through this thing, picking the wrong food, et cetera, et cetera. It's sort of just pre-thought for me. I'm not a big food guy anyways, but if it's thought out for me, then I'm going to make a better choice. Okay. So these were the habits and the mindsets I've kind of set for this year. And these are the things that I'm doing. Some about exercising, sleep, food, but also making it easy for me. I suspect that the people on this call do not have financial challenges relative to their fitness and health challenges. You've got the money to do it. That's the best place you can use your money. Okay. And then, so we just sent all of you this form. You should download it and do it. I find it very valuable to put it down in writing. So after I did this exercising, I thought about what are my takeaways, right? Be careful of over delegating. I've given away sometimes too much, right? You still need to maintain a little bit of control about things, but you first have to delegate to over delegate. So start delegating the parts that you thought of your health that, well, you just thought, I got to do this myself. I'm not sure you've got to do it yourself. It's more important that it get done. Okay. Food selection. I thought about that, and I started watching videos on Masterclass and YouTube and so on. But I don't know. I think I've just delegated it out. I'm going to order food from out for at least for my dinners. Right. I've got my smoothie covered in the morning. Now I'm trying to figure out an efficient way to do lunch, and just delegate it out. The third was working on my VO2 max. I've only had one injury in exercising in about 6 years where I pulled my hamstring badly. And so that affects how much I can, go on a treadmill, but VO2 max is important, right? It's a test that you should be doing. And your cardio, I had a heart attack, as most of you know. So it's particularly important for you to maintain cardiovascular strength. And once a year, I do a VO2 max test. You have to go to a clinic. I go to the Push Pounds Clinic on University Avenue. It's about $300. You kill yourself for about 12, 13 minutes rowing, but they measure your oxygen intake. They give you a score, and then you can compare that score to your age, right? And I think that getting numbers on your health is really, really important. Okay. All right. So that's the exercise for the day. Normally, when we run these sessions, we would go into breakout rooms and things like that and talk about it as a group. I really do think that it would be helpful if you did this, and what gets written down gets done. Okay. All right. Okay. So let's go on to the next session. Rod, next slide.
What do you push to make it bigger?
Try you.
What's
You.
that? Okay. So our guest today is Adrian Roca. Rod, let's go to full screen. A lot of you guys know Adrian. Okay. He is one of the largest apartment developers in Canada. And let's just go to full screen, Rod, with just Adrian and I, if that's possible. Okay. I'm sorry. I want the next slide. So Adrian, this is just a quick background of your company, so that if people want to, who you are. He is an apartment developer building some of the largest, and I would say highest end from an amenity standpoint, customer service oriented apartment builder. but that's a discussion for another day. Okay, as to sort of what Adrian does. What I think has been really, really significant. I've known Adrian for a number of years, and let's go to the picture. This every picture tells a story, right? That is the change that Adrian made. Okay, and Adrian was a pretty big guy on the left-hand side with it looks like a very cute daughter. Okay, and over a relatively short period of time, I'm thinking Adrian, 2 years, he went from that size to that size on the right? That is a significant change, my friend. Okay, so let's even get Adrian on here, and Adrian will just have a discussion about everything that sort of went on to let you go from the left-hand side to the right-hand side, right? So Adrian, just tell us your health and weight loss story, and somewhere there was a turning point for you to go from the big guy to now the slim guy. Tell us that story.
Yeah. So thanks, Derek, for having me on your webinar. I'm very passionate, obviously, about the topic. Maybe to start from the very beginning, my mother would always joke that I was born with 2 shoes on. I was a 10-pound plus baby. I was always a larger child, and played football growing up. Was very, very active, but also came from a large Italian family where food was, really our cornerstone. We, had a lot of comfort in food, no different than, other cultures as well. And so it was almost a sense of pride of having a lot of food on the table and being able to, to eat a certain way. And, that's really how I grew up. And that's really, I'd say the context of my motherly love that was shown to me over the years. And I say that not tongue in cheek, but it was very much how I grew up. As my athletic career, played football, at Western and at high school, as my football career kind of fell away and I started working. Obviously, your metabolism as you get older, slows down, and your ability to lose weight and maintain an active lifestyle is challenged. I would say that looking back is always an excuse, and I'd love to kind of talk about how I view the world today versus where I thought my lifestyle was going 15, 20 years ago. But I just got to the point where as I was packing on the pounds, as I was really focused on my career, I was prioritizing the social side of the industry. I was prioritizing investing in certain relationships. I was investing in my own career. I was out 5 nights a week. I was, building a business in Fitzrovia. I really enjoyed the social side of that, but that came at a big price. Like I said, I was out 5, 6 nights a week, eating at restaurants every single night, maybe multiple times a day. The alcohol intake, I really enjoyed having a cocktail or a beer or a couple beers with colleagues in the industries or landowners or brokers, but that just compounds. And I went from 260 pounds to 300 pounds to not really looking at the scale until I got to about 350 pounds. And I just woke up one day. I have 4 beautiful young kids, I have a beautiful wife. I was tired of feeling sluggish. I was tired of feeling that I needed 10 cups of coffee a day just to, have the energy to get going and be in a certain mental state. I was just tired of it. And I feel like once you get to a certain age, for me, it was probably 40, where there's a bit of a midlife crisis that comes into play, where mortality you think about quite a bit. And I just wanted to take control. And I was unhappy every time I climbed a set of stairs that I was out of breath. I was unhappy every time I rolled out of bed every morning, and didn't like the way it felt when I got on my feet, or that even tying my shoes when I was 350 pounds was an effort and did not feel great. And so I decided to make a change. That change was twofold. One, a very good friend of mine did a gastric sleeve. And so I'm a big believer, if you really need the help, especially around portion control, and you're standing at the bottom of that mountain looking up, around weight loss at, 350 pounds. That was going to be, a huge undertaking. And I am not ashamed to say I needed a little bit of help at the time. No different than someone needing some help if they're going through mental health. Thankfully, I don't. My crutch was weight loss, was the size I was. And so I ended up engaging Michael Garron Hospital, do a lot of work for the hospital, and undertook the surgery about 2 years ago. And that allowed me to really, lose about 40 pounds fairly quickly. What it also did was it created really positive momentum in terms of reshaping the rest of my I call it lifestyle management. I didn't have
Hold on, Adrian. Adrian, I have a question. Did you get this bypass sleeve done in Canada?
I did at Michael Garron Hospital.
Okay. How much did it cost?
It was covered by OHIP.
It was covered by OHIP?
Yeah.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Yeah. So I didn't have the fast food cravings I once did. I used to I still tell the story quite a bit. There's a McDonald's right outside my office, and I used to walk home, which is about a 20-minute walk home. I would eat 3 Big Macs on my walk home, and then I'd order a double cheeseburger, a 6-pack of nuggets, and a medium-sized French fries, so that my wife would only see that that's what I was eating for dinner. Meanwhile, I would finish off 3 Big Macs on the way home. And so I didn't have those cravings anymore, which was a bit of a drug at the time. And so that was really impactful.
Hold on, Adrian. What you're describing is almost like alcoholism. You kind of drink on the way home, then you get home and you say, "Wife, well, I'll just have a glass of wine with dinner," or something like that. Same analogy, yeah.
It's the exact same feeling. The exact same feeling. Turning on alcoholism, which I think is really important. I went from, do I think I really enjoy a drink? Do I really need a drink? Is it going to make someone else feel uncomfortable if I'm not drinking with them? And I just ripped the Band-Aid, and I said, I can't do 4 or 5 drinks a night. I went to, 1 to 2 drinks every 2 weeks. And it's got to be a really nice glass of wine that I'm really going to enjoy. That's going to, put me in a happy state. I'm not just going to drink to drink and, feel like I'm very comfortable, being social without having a drink at the table. And so I thought that was going to be more of an adjustment than it has been, but that has really been tremendous in terms of making me feel great. I as it relates to activity, I used to always say I'm not a morning person, or there's only so many hours in a day, and I'm really focused on building the business or my own career or family. That was always a compromise. Well, you know what? Waking up when you're feeling lighter, waking up at 4:30 in the morning, hitting in the gym at 5 o'clock, and being really tenacious around, that schedule. 5 to 6:30 is my time where I work out religiously 6 days a week. I did people ask, are you working with a trainer? I'm really not. I'm doing old football workouts. Or just random workouts that I think look interesting and are fun to do, that I pull from the internet, and I incorporate it into a weekly workout regime. That's really been tremendous. That has allowed me to sleep much better at night. Talk about technology, which we'll come on to, and Derek mentioned is Whoop. I have an Aura ring. I'm actually not wearing it right now because my charger was not charging my ring as of last night. I'm having an issue with it, but I'm religious about this Aura ring, and that allows me to monitor the quality of the sleep I'm having at night.
So Adrian, hold on. Let's talk about this technology piece, because you're giving a lot of good stuff here. How important is measuring your health? You said your weight. How important is the numbers to keep moving in the right direction, especially when you're 250 pounds on your way to losing you know what I mean? Talk about just your numbers guy, you're a developer.
Yeah, I think metrics are really important in life. I'm definitely a big quant person. I think when I wasn't focused on the numbers, that's when my health seemed to get out of control. I think it's a nice reminder to tug you back to the middle, to know that, whatever you're putting in your body, whatever you're doing in your body, will have some consequences. Could be positive or negative. And so being able to monitor that on a daily basis. So when I actually weigh myself every day, when I look at, the results of my Oura ring, which is really 3 times a day, I also want to manage and kind of look at stress levels during the day. And then lastly, I do a really in-depth full day annual physical through the Cleveland Clinic. And I've done a full body scan with my wife through Prenovo down in the US. So very focused around, tracking my year-over-year trend data. And then also on a daily basis, what happened the day before, what's its impact in terms of my weight gain in that morning? Is there anything I need to tweak? Is my body reacting to something that was new, that was either consumed or introduced to my lifestyle that I need to just adjust? Like, I'm constantly tweaking and monitoring before it slips too long, where you're not actually having those checks in place, and it's really difficult to self-correct over time. Does that make sense, Derek?
Yeah, it makes complete sense. Let's break down some of the things you do into how you actually got them done. You're a busy guy. All of a sudden, you have to carve out getting up at 5 in the morning and taking an hour and a half out of your day. It's probably more by the time you get finished and so on, right? You all of a sudden had to start eating different food. That's work. How did you physically get some of these things done in a world of a million things to do?
Yeah, so I used to have sleep apnea, the weight loss. And so I had a sleep machine, an oxygen machine, which I hated using, and I was always tired, which really forced me to have 8 to 10 cups of coffee a day to get going. Right. So when you're losing all that weight and you're treating your body much better, my sleep was really enhanced. I know they say the baseline is 7 to 8 hours of sleep a day is what you should be shooting for. Well, for whatever reason, 5.5 hours on my Oura, I am feeling fantastic. I have optimal REM, I have optimal deep sleep, I have optimal essentially every single metric except for duration. And I want to be in the high 70s, low 80 range in terms of overall kind of sleep quality. That's really what I focus on. So which means I need to get in bed. I need to be asleep by 10:30 at night. If I'm a minute past that, I definitely feel its effects the next day. So I'm trying to be really religious every day to be in bed by no later than 10:30 and falling asleep within a couple minutes.
Talk to me a little bit more about how you find time. Like 5 o'clock in the morning is an early wake up time, man. Okay. I used to wake up at 7, 8 o'clock, and I worked it down in 15-minute increments to get to my current 5:15. Fair enough. But that's not an easy thing to do. And did you just all of a sudden said, I'm waking up early? How did you do that?
Yeah, it's as simple as that, Derek. When that alarm goes off, don't stay in bed, just get up and move, right? And
Put your foot on the ground. Put your foot on the ground.
It's no different than taking a shower, right? Now, if I miss a workout, I don't feel great, right? I'm not in a great mental state. And it's a whole kind of ripple effect on the rest of the day. So when that alarm goes, I'm up, every morning out of bed. I'll play either a podcast as I'm getting ready, or some light music, and just get your day moving, and you don't think about it. That's as simple as that.
Right. Okay. Do you just get up in the morning, you go to bed at 10:30? You probably, to get more sleep, you probably need to go to bed earlier if you're going to improve it.
Yeah, I just don't feel like I need more than 5.5 right now. And the data on my Oura ring is also kind of backing that up. Like, I feel very energetic throughout the day. I don't feel like I tire out. I got way more energy, way better clarity of thought than I did, previously when I was at a larger weight. I just don't feel like I need more than 5.5. So which means I have to be religious getting to bed at 10:30.
So when you lose this much weight, you probably had to throw away all your clothes, I'm guessing twice in the journey down.
That's exactly it. It was 2 rounds of clothes that had to donate.
Right. So some big guys got some good looking stuff. Yeah, good. So you have this tremendous loss in weight. How has people's reaction to I remember my reaction to your weight I saw you on Zoom and I said, like, I thought Adrian was joining us for the meeting, right? And you were sitting there. What did people say to you? And I guess what I'm saying is you had a major change physically. How did that affect your mindset, your attitude, your opinion about yourself, your relationship with your wife, your relationship with your children, things like that?
Yeah, I think across the board, like I used to hate, I don't talk about this publicly, but I will here. I used to hate like walking by a mirror and seeing how my clothes fit or how I was, it just like some of those things that you kind of take for granted now. When I look back, I subconsciously never wanted to, take a peek in the mirror, take a peek within a reflection, and you're kind of making excuses as to maybe how clothes or how you're looking that certain day. You feel so much better. Your confidence is much better. The way you're able to communicate by, being, looking like an average person, I think is really important. I also feel like the way people treat you is very different, right?
Let's talk about that.
Professionally, yeah, I'd say professionally, I'd say day-to-day interactions when you go to a store, the interactions I'm having with the average person definitely feel different. What do they feel like? It's really difficult to put your finger on it, but it feels it's way more of a positive interaction, positive energy today than it was historically.
You look like you're worth talking to, relatively speaking. When you were 100 pounds heavier, you just didn't carry this. Look, you're still a bright guy doing big things and all that. But if I didn't know you and I saw you in a store, I'd be more likely to engage in discussion with someone who is well dressed and at a reasonable weight for their height and their age and so on. People just perceive you differently.
Yeah, I would also make the comment, if you can't control your own life, how do you actually kind of drive a business? How do you actually, drive a certain conversation? How are you, like, why should someone listen to you when you couldn't even control your life? And that's kind of, when I look back, it's at the time I didn't appreciate it as much, as I'm very sensitive to that point now, if that makes sense.
It makes 100%. I mean, you are out raising money, building big apartment buildings. Fair enough. You've got to show I've got discipline, blah, 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 and so on. And if you can't control your own self, then how can you take care of my money? I think that's a very fair comment. Have you been able to raise more money since you lost weight?
Yeah, we raised about 615 million of equity in the last 12 months, which was a very difficult fundraising market. So really happy about that.
Right.
Yeah, that has been a nice byproduct. I don't know if it's directly connected, maybe it is, but it certainly feels so much better. And really, I do want to talk about my family a little bit more, as
Yes.
4 kids that are growing. These years are flying by. I want high margin time together. Really, really critical for me to do that. Be active, be present. There's only so many hours a day. So when those windows are around, when I'm spending one-on-one time with my family, I want to feel energetic. I don't want to feel lethargic. I want to feel present. And I feel like the weight loss has been instrumental in feeling that way.
And I think you have energy to do stuff with your kids that, quite frankly, you wouldn't have been able to do before. You would make an excuse that you can't do it, right?
Absolutely.
Yeah. I actually took up a few things that I stopped doing. I started skating again, right? I wrestle with my grandsons all the time, right? Whereas I never would have done that before. Yeah, cool. So we're at the beginning of 2025. What kind of goals have you set for yourself in the next 12 months or so, related to your health and your longevity?
Yeah, honestly, the only main goal, because I didn't have the building blocks in place, the foundation in place, is to continue to be consistent, right? And be persistent in your pursuit around a healthy kind of lifestyle. I've done it for 2 years now. I feel like that, like if I go a day of not putting something good in my body, or consuming too much alcohol, or not working out, or not sleeping well, I feel terrible. And so the the idea is to compound. I saw the quote that you put on the Atomic Habits, and I love it. Is compound the way you treat yourself, because it's going to compound the health benefits over time. And so it's really around creating a sustainable lifestyle. I don't want to feel like I'm on a diet, right? I want to enjoy high quality, good food, very nutritious food with people that I love, that are meaningful to me, and have a strong sense of purpose every single day. Like if I could do that every single day, boy, you're winning. If you can't do that, well, you have to adjust your lifestyle. You got to fix it.
So, I want to go back to alcohol. Okay. We all like to drink. The feeling you get from drinking is generally, very positive, right? And so every ounce of vodka is about 100 ounces. 100 calories per ounce. Scotch is about 200 calories per ounce. Okay. And every pound of fat you carry is about 3,000 calories. Does that make sense? Okay, so if I were drinking 5 drinks a week, okay, 52 weeks per year, that's something, I'm just going to round out the numbers, 30,000 calories. Fair enough? If I just didn't drink, I would lose 10 pounds, but doing nothing, just by not taking in those empty calories. So I think alcohol is a big one, especially for men, and especially as they get older. And I'm going to include myself in that category. The other thing I found, Adrian, was when I started drinking less or not drinking alcohol, and I do drink, clients weren't that happy. Does that make sense? Like they want to go out, they want to have a good time, they want things like that. So I started drinking non-alcoholic beer. And I would have my assistant call the restaurant so I would know the brand name of the non-alcoholic beer. And I'd just say, I'll have an Erdinger. Fair enough? Or whatever it was. And that just kind of helped smoothen that thing. Sometimes I will, but when I went through a period of, I went through a period of time, I can't remember how long it was, either 1 year or 5 years, but I had absolute sobriety. I didn't drink at all a number of years ago. And that was one technique that I used, was ordering something that was non-alcoholic, but I wasn't broadcasting it to the world. What do you think about that?
Yeah, look, I think whatever works. I think that's a good idea. I also find there's less of a pressure, and I think generally people are more health conscious today than they were a couple years ago. So I feel like it's almost a relief in most cases recently. Going out and not feeling like the other person needs to drink, and it's actually come up a couple times. So. I think there's always kind of little tricks. I mean, go with non-alcoholic or mocktails or, whatever is really going to work. I'm just finding being an open book and saying, you know what, here's my journey. I'm trying to limit my drinking to once every 2 weeks. I had a drink a couple of days ago, being fully open kimono around it. Really takes down the pressure, and I'm like, I don't think it's ever been, an issue or someone said, oh, I'm gonna, I wanted to drink with you, and this is, they seem a little disappointed. I would say the opposite. They're almost relieved that they don't have to have a night of multiple drinks, and obviously the consequences with that. I think people are generally more health conscious today, and I think that's generally a good thing. And I think just being open book is the way to go. It's certainly been helpful for me.
I think it's probably also like the sign of the times. You know what I mean? People are 20 years ago, you went out for a liquid lunch. Now I would never have alcohol at lunchtime because I've got meetings scheduled afterwards. It'd be totally unacceptable to go to a meeting in any circumstance after having having a drink at lunch or something like that. Good. You also mentioned that your weight loss had other unintended consequences, benefits. Sleep apnea went away, and I would say I had that happen as well. What else? What else happened? Did your hair grow back better? Anything like that?
Yeah, I'd say everything from your skin. My mental state was very, very different. Clarity of thought was exceptional. Like I would say it took, especially in the first couple hours of the day, it took there's almost a slight fogginess, I would say historically, which I don't feel that right now. At all. Energy levels, I'd say general mood has been, really, really improved. I'd say interpersonal relationships have been vastly improved as well, both at home and, I'd say professionally. I'd say really across the board. Like it's just amazing what a magic bullet, health can provide you.
Okay. We're going to use the last 5 minutes, Adrian, to talk about technology. Okay. And it's interesting you mentioned Prenovo. That's exactly where I went to get my scan. Small world here. We didn't discuss that. Okay, Rod, let's just go. So I want to show you 3 tests that I have done. And some of them I've done repeatedly. And I want to just show you what the test is and the results. Okay. The first one, it's called Inside Tracker. Okay. And this is one where a nurse comes to your house and takes a blood sample from you. They runs it through an algorithm. You get a result back that shows you what your biological age is. Sarah, pop the address in there. I called them up and I got a code, so you can get a discount for it. It's around $400 or $500. I gave it to last Christmas or Christmas before. I gave it as a gift to my wife and my 3 daughters, and said, let's find out what your inner age is. It's called Inside Tracker. So this was me from doing the test a couple of years ago. This is my 2022 result. I came back at 2.7 years younger than my age. So I was 63.6 and my age came back at 60.9. So I was happy with that, right? Then I did it the next year and my age came back 4.1 years younger. So I said, good, I'm going in the right direction. Fair enough. And I look forward to it. Then I did it last year. For some reason, my age came back only 2 years younger. So now I'm 66 and it came back at 64, something like that. But all I'm saying is that these tests may not be perfect, but they're hopefully, if they're consistent, if nothing else, if I can keep my age, my biological age younger than my chronological age, then that feels like a win to me. Fair enough. Okay. I know 4 people who I meet, who are 10 years younger biologically. Fair enough. And another guy, a lot of you probably know his name is, he talks about it, Sasha Kirschmeyer, the surveyor, right? I think Sasha comes back 5 years younger. So I want to beat him next time I do it. We're friends. So I think this is kind of a cool test. People argue and say, oh, it's whatever, but it's a test called Inside Tracker. The next one is, I think this is way better than weighing yourself. If there are children in the room, please have them look away. Okay. This is the DEXA scan. And rather than weighing yourself, which is one measurement, this shows your muscle mass. Fair enough. And I'm more interested in my muscle mass than I am in my overall weight, right? So in your 60s, it's hard to put on muscle. It's always hard to put on muscle. A combination of eating and working out and doing those 2 things together. So I look at my muscle mass, and I would like to get my fat content down. We all would, but if I want to lose weight, I could just kind of starve myself, blah, blah, blah. But to put on muscle requires you actually eat better. So I think muscle is a more important measurement than overall body weight. And Adrian, last year, I put an effort in the second half of the year. I worked out the same. I put an effort on eating more protein, which, by the way, I tracked in a tracker and I hired a nutritionist. I wound up putting on 5 pounds of muscle in about 6 months. And that's like in your 40s, I think you can do that relatively easily. In your 60s, that's harder to do. So I like this test a lot, and it's one that I think I've run on myself now for 4 years. Okay, it's only about $100, but you got to find a place to do it. This is one, Adrian, you recognize this? This is Prenovo, right? So I went to a friend of mine did it. He sent me his results. And you go inside this chamber here. It's fairly constrictive, but there's a TV in there and you can watch TV or listen to music or something like that. And I got my results from Prenovo, but I'm going to show you a result. It's not mine, but it's this friend of mine's. Okay. So just show the next slide, Rod. So this was the scan of his skull. And you see where there's a circle there at about, I don't know, 2 o'clock. Rod, you can point to it, right? They found a cyst in his nose, okay? And he said he was getting unexplainable headaches, right? And this showed up on the scan. So my scan didn't reveal anything serious, but it showed me several ailments that I have that I know about, but it found them, right? And then it found something weird on my knee called Baker's cyst. Not a big deal. I can probably just get it drained, but it was causing me a knee problem. Other MRIs, other whatever, ultrasounds and so on, didn't find it. This found it, and I feel kind of relieved on this. So this was something that was that's new to me. Pre-Nova. Adrian, how did you find that Pre-Nova thing? It's interesting you did it.
Yeah, so a friend of mine did it, highly recommended it, and so my wife and I, did it last January. We're going to do it again this year.
Right. Sarah, I think they gave me a $300 coupon for anybody who, I don't want to be like a walk. You can get this done anywhere, right? But it was good service, right? And after you get the scan, Adrian, have you done the nurse practitioner talk where they walk you through it? You recall?
Yeah, that's exactly what they did there.
Yeah. So I think this was valuable to me, not in terms, well, they found this one problem with my knee, but they found a bunch of other things that I knew I had, which tells me that, whoa, it could find something down to that level. I think this is available in Canada, but I think it was a more traditional kind of scan. This one looks like it's got AI, and you get some really, really cool three-dimensional pictures with it. So those are the three technology things I wanted to mention to you. Rod, I think we are at our 45-minute thing. Adrian, first, thank you for coming out. Really, really an inspirational story, and I hope that everybody got something from this. And we wish you all a happy New Year, and we'll see you around. Okay, thank you very much. Oh,
Thanks
Rod,
very much, Adrian. Thanks, Derek.
One more thing before you go. At 11 o'clock today is our annual apartment download. Sarah, put it in the chat room. So if you'd like to get a sense as to what happened in the apartment industry last year, where we think things are going, that's going to start in 10 minutes. And it's a webinar that we do every year called the apartment download. So that's happening in 10 minutes. But we really appreciate all of you being here and taking the time to listen, and really to your health in 2025. Thank you again, Adrian. George, good to see you, man.
Thanks,
Sally.
everyone. Thanks.